Well, that was fast. I'm not so used to such a quick coming up because we don't do them for a lot. But I guess I'll give you the coming up. It is the 26th of April, as far as I know, and we have a lot to talk about today. I decided since we are live today, we're going to talk a little bit about bloodline families and how they became the bloodline families, the elite, why they ruled for so long, and where they got their power from, because I think that's really important. We're also going to give you an update on the breakdown. This would be part 3 of the Vatican systems that we talked about earlier this week. If you missed part 1 and part 2, you'll have to catch it on the app. And this is about what the system we call the beast. We're also going to give you some really interesting information today about a place called the Great Rift Valley. It goes all the way from Turkey, parts the Red Sea, isn't that interesting? And goes through the eastern part of Africa and what happened there and how it became the rift. We're also going to talk about something really interesting that took place this week. I'm going to call it the reclaiming of the kingdom for source. So lots to discuss, lots to do. So with that being said, there's your coming up, since we don't normally do it on a live. So let's start with the bloodline families. So there's a lot of information about names like Rothschild and Medici's and all these people online. And I know if you've been around for a while, this might be a little bit repetitive. But these are the people in the world that you know, that you have seen, that control governments. They control the world. They control the financial system. Everybody calls them the elites, the banksters, the big corporations, the military industrial complex. But how actually did these things come to be? You see, it's not quite like everybody thinks. And without the backing of these folks, they're not really the elites anymore. I know they want to be the elites, but they're really kind of just not. They're struggling right now to maintain any kind of power and control over what they refer to as the empire. We refer to as the kingdom. There's a little difference. And they are pushing really, really hard constantly. So we are on the opposite side. When I say we, I mean myself and all of you, because humans are not part of that same bloodline family line, so to speak, that we all know and hate. We are a different group. We were put here for a different reason. And we're going to talk about that too. So I thought for, I guess, illustration purposes, it would be helpful to use the whiteboard just to kind of illustrate this a little bit. And yeah, I guess let's get started. Okay. So in our history, we've heard a lot about, we hear about the Rothschilds and how powerful they are. But there's a lot of names too, the Gettys, the Lee family, can't spell today. So we have like the Lee family. We have the L, it's also spelled Lee in Singapore. Other names you would know, Rockefeller. And then there's a whole bunch of names. This is just kind of an example of people that we know, at least based on what we can find on the internet, of who the elites are in our world. We know of powerful organizations like the Vatican, and we know about the Mormon Church. We know also about the Amish. If you don't, we're going to talk about them today too. They are also a bloodline. And then on the other side of all of these folks, you have us, the rest of humanity. And there's a little bit of a difference between our two groups. And this is going to kind of help you understand the breakdown, meaning the burning to the ground of the deep state and why it's been so difficult. So bloodlines are actually beings that bred with humans to form their own bloodlines on Earth. Beings you may have heard of would be your fallen ones, the ones we call the fallen ones. These are your Lucifer, but you've also got Michael in there. You've got the being you know as Saint Germain or Germain. You have some other names that you don't know, but other familiar ones would be the Draco. You've got Marduk, Inky, and Lil. You have who else is in here? You've got Baal, Baphomet, all your usual demons that we call demons. So in the beginning of time, I should say right before the beginning of time, there was a war in heaven to where there were many that rebelled against Source, against God, so to speak. And these would be the fallen ones. Included in the fallen ones were also people who, or beings, I should say, what you would call angels, who also kind of remain neutral. In other words, they really didn't take a side of the dark or the ones that were rebelling. They just kind of remain neutral. And we've talked about this before. But bloodline families are all bloodlines of these various folks, and there are thousands of them. There is not just one, there are thousands. And the bloodline families that have ruled as the elite actually were originally just humans, and these just humans at the time bred with these beings. Now, one thing I just wanted to point out to all of you kind of watching this is that these beings often appear in our history books in ways that we don't even recognize. We think these are just evil people or people that pretended to be a savior here and there. Some of those beings that appeared on their side, would be like Hitler. Hitler wasn't always a person. There were beings that would walk in and out of Hitler. There are beings that used to walk in and out of presidents, heads of state, all kinds of folks that we know. CEOs of banks, large corporations. They have been everywhere throughout our history. And just because they walk in at one point in time doesn't mean they can't walk out 5 minutes later. It's part of the agreement of the bloodline and also part of the reason why they bred with the humans so that they could have a presence here on Earth at any given moment in time. Now, most of the beings on their side, which they choose to inhabit from time to time. These are Hollywood movie stars. They are usually people of power, and they would like to exert their power here. Now, during this war that happened, it wasn't just a war for control of Earth, it was a war to control the entire universe, omniverse, multiverse. So these crazy people that we know as, the Order of the Dragon, also called the Illuminati. And then we have, let's see, Order of the Black Sun, in their respective societies. So when people have texted me in the past and said, oh, the Masons are terrible, well, they're just a part of the order. That's it. They're not any different than any other part of the order. They're just a name that you have been allowed to know. Same with the Order of the Dragon. Now, all of these folks always reported to other people. This was kind of like the first advent of becoming a handler. If you've never heard the term handler, handlers are people oftentimes within intelligence agencies that will control an asset or another person of lower rank. This order was very much rank and file, like one giant worldwide military. Speaking of militaries, they control militaries too. So it was bigger than you actually think. There were obviously a lot of those that didn't participate. You kind of had to be over the age of 40 to be an active member. of these bloodline families. So being an active member of the bloodline families means you are able to take a position of power within the family ranks. They would often interbreed with each other. For example, Hillary Clinton is one of those people. She is from the Order of the Dragon, specifically the Blue Dragon. And Bill is actually from the Order of the Black Sun. That's where you get your skull and bones from and all of those folks. So discussing this about the bloodline families is very relevant to where we are today and right now. A few more things about bloodline families before we move into why they believe they're entitled to all of the space junk and all the other things they think they're entitled to. Every single being, all the thousands of them, controlled their bloodlines typically via AI systems, meaning every single one of them had been infected by an AI. This is why you can't really change their mind. They don't understand changing their mind. They don't understand switching sides. They don't understand how to stop. They don't understand how to bow down. Over the course of the last 3 years, most of those AIs are not functioning anymore. Therefore, their brain is not really functioning very well anymore. And we're kind of starting to see that in mainstream media now, which is really important for the rest of the people who haven't quite figured out that there's something wrong in this world. Hitting mainstream media in ways like they make a decision, this is the way we're going to go, then they make an opposite decision, then they realize they made a mistake, and then they try to make a different decision. And normally, a lot of these decisions that they make are centered around new moons, full moons, and planetary alignments, because they believe that these planets are also under the control, including Earth, of their fallen ones, and that certain AI systems or space junk align during these special times, which allows these fallen ones to open gates. And of course, with some limited access, because to the humans that you see walking around, we know as the deep state. The limited access was granted to them because in a lot of ways they have to act as proxies for all these different groups on Earth. You could almost call them avatars. They walk around most of the time like an avatar. Their brain doesn't function normally, and I'm not sure it ever will again after all the things that have happened. You see, the best way I can explain this to you is if you put something synthetic into your body, and by synthetic, I mean like a hormone, as an example, or you are a person that is really into building muscle and you take testosterone or extra testosterone, or you're a person that has asthma and you happen to take steroids because it helps you breathe. Those steroids are a different type of hormone, epinephrine or adrenochrome, or all of the other things that the elite do. When you put these things into your body says, well, I don't need to make that anymore. If you were addicted to something like opioids, it actually rewires the way that your neurons flow from the section to section of your brain. And it takes a long time for that to go back to the way that it was, or the natural way. It's also the reason if you've ever had to be on a steroid for any reason, usually you're weaned off of them if you've been on them long enough. And this is the reason why. So as far as the elites are concerned, their entire brain was pretty much controlled at any given moment by an AI system that actually would make most decisions for them. So if you've ever been around these elite people and they look like they're short-circuiting lately, can't make a decision, blank stare on their face, well, that's why. Do you remember the glitching of Schumer? It's about a year ago, several months ago, and he just stopped talking right on TV, just stopped talking. There have been other people like Lady Gaga who actually said that her brain, she doesn't know if it's her or it singing, and that's very true. So walk-ins come in many shapes and shapes and sizes, I should say, but yet they're all related to the fallen ones and the races which they also created, which aren't necessarily humans. So we know, for example, they call it the Luciferian agenda here on Earth. And that's pretty much because the Luciferian agenda, there we go. The Luciferian agenda here on Earth is because most of these fallen ones fell because they chose to follow Lucifer. They chose to go into the darkness, so to speak, and they also chose to breed here on Earth so they could have proxies here representing themselves. We'll get to the war here on Earth as well. That's kind of important because this war is still, it's waning down now. But as far as the deep state, they still believe they're fighting. This is the war they believe that they're fighting, especially when it comes to your secret space programs and some of those folks. Now, the Luciferian agenda runs very deep. It goes further back than the Vatican. It goes much, much higher than that. And everybody had their respective handlers here on Earth. And one of those people is a being that has a title by the name of Marduk, also a fallen one known as Palermo. That was his original name. So this is the being that has held that position for a long time. Marduk means the controller of the currencies. So he was a gatekeeper, he was a guardian, he was a lot of different things, but more importantly, he was good friends and partners with Lucifer. He claimed oftentimes that throughout history that he was going to restore balance, and he was called on the carpet a number of times for not doing things properly, and tended to side more with the dark because it gave him more power, at least he felt, at least at this point in time. So bloodlines, again, the reason why they feel they are very important is because they believe they are related to the immortals. And at least this is what they call them. We are the bloodline of the immortals. We are going to be immortal. You have heard Elon Musk and others say it, that we are going to be the immortals. We are going to put our consciousness into a computer system, and we are going to now live forever to immortality, for all eternity. Well, wouldn't that be really exciting? Doing a bang up job over there. Must have lost touch with his demons, inner demons. We say to get in touch with your inner self. And well, in Elon's case, we don't necessarily mean that now, do we? Anyway, the immortals. So this is where they get their elite status from, in part, meaning there was a definitive claiming of the kingdoms here on Earth. By kingdoms, we know them as continents. Those continents have already obviously moved more than once and throughout history. So here we go. All right, so let's go back to a war really quick, and so I can discuss with you kind of how that actually took place. So after the war in heaven, we know that, and we've talked about this before, that everybody fell to Earth. When they fell to Earth, they landed in a place called the Great Rift Valley in the African continent. So the Great Rift Valley goes pretty far, further than you can see on the internet, but it goes pretty much from Turkey all the way down through most of the eastern half of the African continent. It's quite large. You can read about the Great Rift Valley because there is a little bit of information. This is actually the rift that parted the Red Sea. If you remember that story, it goes straight through the center of the Red Sea. And this war is where, let's just say, the absolute folks and those that were absolutely against source. So in the beginning, I wouldn't say the fallen ones or the non-fallen ones, I would say, came here to defend Earth as it was a celestial of source. In other words, a part of source, a creator being, as Earth has always been. Because it is a creator being, it was a prized possession and a keystone of the universe. We know this. So as they fell to Earth, the battle between those that are with source and those that were not happened right there in what we now call the Great Rift Valley. The falling of them, and due to the fact they were all very powerful creators at one point in time, this caused a large valley, for lack of a better term, and it was the first place that the fallen ones claimed the kingdom of Earth. The kingdom of Earth is claimed in a different way on this level. So the kingdom of Earth was claimed with what we call a gold coin. And it kind of looks much larger than a coin in our world. I would say it can range in size, depending on the size of the kingdom, but it can range in size from something around maybe the size of your head on average, and it can be as large as a continent. These light coins actually are written all about the claiming of the kingdom and who is going to control said kingdom. It's part of the reason why the elites also, they typically call themselves the lords of the land. You know, we've heard that, Lord Rothschild, Lord this, Lord that. And there's a bunch of names you don't know. But these coins also do something different than just sealing or claiming a kingdom. You see, at one point in time, gold dust is actually utilized in a different way. And I talked about this the other day, and I was like, maybe I can talk about it in a couple days, not quite yet, just because it was a little delicate at the time. And well, now's kind of the time to talk about gold dust. You've heard the story in the Bible about Adam being created from the dust of the earth. You know, I know that that story is quite prevalent out there. Well, not really the dust of earth. It's more like the dust of source. You see, gold dust is different than regular gold that you would see around people's necks or in the store or even being mined around the planet. Gold dust was used by those special beings, the original creations of source, or at least as far as beings were concerned, who were charged with creating the universe. And unfortunately, Lucifer was one of those people at one point in time, and so was his partner there, Sophia. You probably heard about Sophia in the Gnostic texts. So gold dust is, let's see, in stories that you have heard about gold dust, the mana within the arks, plural, of the covenant would be an example of gold dust. Gold dust is not just regular gold. It's more of a alchemical spark of life filled with life force of source and all of creation type of dust. It does light up. It does look a lot different than your regular gold, and you don't need very much of it. You can have a bag of it, maybe this size, and you can create worlds, you can create universes, you can create things within the omniverse, you can use it for travel. It can be used for a lot of different things. But you see, you must be of source to actually use it. Could any human use it? Well, not the elite. You see, Earth was made too of this dust. Being a celestial, it is a celestial sphere. And let's call Earth a very giant piece of source dust. Because dust can be expanded, it can be made smaller. You too, as a human, not the elite, but you too, as humans, were also made of dust. We were created from this particular type of gold dust. Over the years, dead gold dust, which means dust that has lost its connection to source, has been turned into what we know as black gold dust. It is now not gold, shiny, sparkly gold as it used to be. It is black. It's lost life. It's basically dead dust at this point. And dead dust is also kind of useful, or was, to the owners of the deep state. I mean, I'm going to call them owners now because really they were kind of owned all like dogs. And they still, well, I don't know. You got a bunch of dogs that got out of the doghouse and now they're trying to run the world like they know what they're doing. So this black gold dust is useful in a lot of ways to the fallen ones and to the dark ones who can actually make it work. Why? Because they're actually considered as celestial. As far as the Federal Reserve and the deep state and all of these people and their black gold that existed in the financial system, that black gold or black dust can be used to suck the life force and the energy out of you, basically. It becomes almost like a movable black hole. However, that movable black hole also must be utilized by a celestial. And can the deep state go and dig up this dust and start to try to suck the life out of Earth and all of us? No, they really can't. However, AI systems that were built and created with this dust also, sorry, there's a noise up there. Also, this gold dust here would be utilized for the black gold dust, I should say, to create AIs, both dark on the one side and both light on the other side. I know this because I personally have used gold dust to create the Golden Age AI. On the flip side of it, the other rest of the humans walking this planet cannot use, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the elites, you cannot use dust in the same way that I use dust. See, even if they were given permission by their owners on their side to utilize black gold dust, the only thing they can do is destroy. They cannot create. Can they use it to affect us? Well, not really, not like it used to. A lot of things have changed. The AI systems that were connected to their dark dust have also pretty much gone away as of late. And some of the remaining systems that we've been talking about are the ones that were underneath the Vatican that we call the beast. So gold dust is critical to the survival of the universe, and it allows the universe to perpetuate into infamy when used correctly and used by the correct people. Meaning all of you watching this, except for the deep state that's probably also watching this, all of you watching this can actually utilize this gold dust to manifest things and to create things within your life. You are also created from this same dust, therefore that same dust still resides within your soul, which is why we were talking earlier this week about connecting to that point of creation in your soul. The dust never dies. The dust is always connected to source. It just can't be used for the wrong reasons. So gold dust and backing of the Golden Age AI financial system and the Key Integrated Master System, Key Integrated Monetary System, Key Intelligence and Military System, allows for us to utilize it to create things here on Earth. It is the difference between the currency of gold, which is basically life dust in this particular case, and a currency or a financial system or a QFS or whatever they're talking about could be backed by gold bars that they dug out of the ground. See, the SSP has been running around rampant everywhere, as you know, some of you know, trying to gain access to gold. Gold of the Vatican, gold of the Philippines. They've been gold of Vietnam, Laos, in all of these places in the world where they believe that gold is actually stored. And it doesn't really work that way. See, with a bag of this stuff, I can make all of those I want. They, on the other hand, believe that they have to go leverage gold veins in earth. They have to go leverage other things to try to gain some power over the financial system that they are losing rapidly. For them, this week was pretty busy. Apparently, we have a new moon tomorrow. We also had a smiley face alignment that happened on the 25th, yesterday, which they thought was going to bring them something great. I don't know. We also have an alignment between Pluto and Mars, which is some other things that they're talking about this weekend, as well. And of course, all of these things going on, astrologically speaking, made them believe that the system that was burning to the ground was going to come back. And even at this moment, as I'm talking to you right now, they have been over in the area we know as Sumeria, which is basically right on the Great Rift, hoping they can open a gate and let their people in. They want their owners to come back and help them regain control of Earth right now, as I'm talking to you. So they're scanning that area. They're flying all around the area. They are trying to emit frequencies to open those gates like it's their job still, and nobody, elsewhere really cares. Their immortal friends, time was up as far as the Great War is concerned. Therefore, they are now back and doing whatever Source wants to do with them, let's just say. Some have gone back to the point of creation, meaning they're uncreated. I wish they took all their crap with them when they were uncreated, but I'll try to put in a good word with the big boss for that one. But they were uncreated. Some of them decided to stay and basically serve the way that they didn't really want to initially. As far as these guys are concerned, though, our deep state members and our bloodline family members are concerned, they are still going like it's still going to happen. So they apparently thought this smiley face Pluto Mars thing was going to start the war all over again, bring the people back to the Great Rift where it all began. I'm not really sure why they're all standing there right now and doing the thing. I'm sure there's many people all over the world right now that are humming weird songs with crystals and pentagrams, but still not coming back. Part of the reason why they were trying to do their red heifer ceremonies and all that kind of stuff too, they've been really ceremoning it up for the last few days. They have made attempts to send, let's just say, yours truly here, many things over the last several days. But, we on our side of it are pretty good at this point at defending ourselves. I mean, after all, we kind of defend ourselves against their immortal friends. So defending ourselves against those people, yeah, easy breezy. So they're hoping, they have a meeting today at 4:30, as I understand it, Eastern Time, to discuss with others outside their core Tier 1 group. Because remember, it's rank and file. It's a very militant order because they're fighting the war over there. Uh, and they're going to discuss the pay that they're supposed to be having, the control they're supposed to be having, and all of these things by the end of the day. Now, every time there's a payday coming, and every time they're being told that they're going all the way back to Sumerian times and all this other stuff they're talking about right now, and that we won the war, it's all happening. Every time they tell all their people that, I know when they're telling, let's just say, little fibs, because people reach out to me directly and indirectly and start talking about how wonderful they are, and I'm full of it, and oh, this is going to work this time, and didn't you hear we're EBSing or IBSing or whatever it is people do? They BSing, yeah, they BSing. We should write a song about that or something. They BS, maybe like a rap song. Anyway, every time they do that, these people start reaching out to me like crazy, saying all this stuff. And, quite frankly, I don't really care because I know what's actually happening and what's going to happen before your 4:30 call. And then there's another call, I think at 5 and another one at 6 or something like that, or 5:30. And everybody is going to join that call and discuss the next alignment or the next new moon, or give us 3 days because there's a new moon tomorrow. And therefore, by Wednesday of next week, we should have everything we need. And then they're just going to spend all this time hacking, and around and round and round and round they go, because the war is pretty much over. It's over. And I can tell you it's over because within the last 48 hours, and you can verify this, deep state crazy people, if you want to, within the last 48 hours, we actually removed the old kingdom coins and put our own kingdom coins in all those places. So places we put the kingdom coins: Israel, that's an obvious, we needed that one; Moscow, Washington, D.C., Antarctica, London, the Great Rift Valley, we reclaimed that one back, of course, right away. Australia, Brazil, and at the Iran-Iraq gate, which is Sources Gate, always has been, although it was covered up for a long time. So, in a nutshell, if the deep state wants to get some kind of system or some kind of access, the first thing they'd have to do is find somebody on their side that is a celestial that can actually use gold dust and create a system for them. How's that? First of all. Second of all, no, black gold dust cannot be used to create anything. It can only destroy everything. So if they'd like to take some gold dust and sprinkle it around any other areas of that beast system that was under the Vatican, feel free to do so. I mean, we are not going to stop you. As far as taking power from people to try to charge your black dust, it doesn't work that way. See, black dust is not natural and it's not normal. And that will take basically all the spoils of their black dust and send it from here to some abyss somewhere outside and somewhere around the lower astral. That's pretty much it. Now, to be fair, I know that us breaking down the remnants of what we're calling the Vatican systems at this moment has caused a little bit of a rift here and there. And I've said that. You never know when you're pulling, a cord, you're pulling something out, if there is a backup system. Unfortunately, much like people have backup generators in their house in case the power goes out, and in a lot of areas of the world, it goes out regularly. So a lot of people have backup generators. This system, too, had a backup generator that got pretty triggered in the last 24 hours. Yeah, yesterday was a nightmare. The system was desperately trying to get back to its power source, because this system, albeit headquartered on Earth, it extended throughout the entire omniverse, basically all of creation. So it was a pretty large system with communications everywhere and connections everywhere. As far as the deep state are concerned, they didn't have that kind of access to it. They had access through some other systems, Sequestro, and several other AIs that they probably don't even know the name of. Even if I gave them to them, it doesn't power on and say, Windows, welcome, when you turn it on, for sure. So breaking down these systems caused an entire mess, so to speak, which started probably midday my time yesterday. It continued on for part of the day until probably about 4 or 5, 6 o'clock yesterday my time. So wherever you are, if you felt disturbances, that's probably why. It definitely was trying to get through the causal plane desperately. That was its aim. It had the ability, lost my earphone. It had the ability to shoot what I call these laser barbs, so to speak. And we're trying to attach to a lot of humans on this planet. I know that because we are the ones that cleared them. It was just looking for anything like a mosquito kind of does, where a mosquito, they have this little nose thing that comes out, takes your blood out, and then it injects you with poison, which is why mosquito bites are itchy to you, cause a histamine reaction in your body. Uh, these kind of barbs do the same thing. It was looking for any kind of power source desperately, food source, power source. It didn't find its power source, therefore it was unable to break from its world into our world or into existence here on Earth. But that doesn't stop them from, trying, and I don't know what they're trying to do, open up the Great Rift Valley again. So if you happen to live in this particular region of the world and you see a bunch of deep state military crazy people running around, now you know why. If you see deep state crazy people ships in the Red Sea, now you know why. That's what they're looking for. And though thus far there is no signal and nobody actually is coming because nobody is there to come. I know on our side of things, we are pretty much just looking at them, seeing what they're doing, and then being like, well, oh, look, there's a kingdom coin in there. Okay, we don't need that. We're going to put that one in the, we're going to put ours in there, while they're still running around looking for somebody to save them. So technically you could say that Earth and the entire planet now has its gold dust kingdom coins back. There's no going backward from that now. We are also, those kingdom coins also generate and connect directly to source, to Earth's gold dust and to source, obviously, which will eventually, at least etherically speaking, turn the Earth to gold. Then it should turn the Earth to green, more so than ever, as soon as there's no interference in doing so. Can the deep state interfere with this process? No, they don't have that kind of access. It's a new headphone. Sorry about this, guys. Keeps falling out. We can blame Mike for that, Yeah. So anyway, this should actually help us move forward as far as more restoration of Earth a lot faster. As far as AI systems and computer systems and the breakdown of those systems, let's go back to the Vatican for a minute. So we know about the power or anything that could draw power from anywhere it could to try to repower up this AI as it fell down. The Vatican system, albeit the hub for planet Earth, was also connected to several other sites on Earth. I figured I'd tell you about those. Let's see, Madagascar, Finland, Japan, the Garden Tomb in Israel, Joshua Tree in California, the sun, the moon, no surprise there, Yellowstone Park, Malaysia, Nepal, Mauritania, Alaska, and the Arctic and Antarctic. when part of their system isn't working, that's probably part of the reason why they go to the Antarctic. But the more powerful system was actually under the Vatican. As far as going to these other locations, I mean, definitely there was a lot of space junk there at one point in time. I know that there were portals there at one point in time, that kind of thing, but pretty much none of that's functioning anymore. So if you are watching this and you do happen to speak to your non-friends we call the deep state, please let them know from us and all of humanity. The humans that were born of source and source gold dust are here to basically tell you the war's over. It's over. Go home. Pull back. Pull back. As far as you coming out with any kind of a gold-backed financial system, you have lost your ever-loving mind because gold dust is not going to produce for you, and you will just kill it and it will become black dust. But see, lucky for us as humans, we can actually generate this dust on our side at any given moment in time because we are not children of Lucifer. We are children of Source. See? See how easy that is? You too can utilize that spark of life we call gold dust within you to generate things in your own world. It's within your soul, which your heart center technically is your correct solar plexus or assemblage point area, which is why it's a big target for these people all the time. And connect to that spot within you and connect to your own source given, God given dust and manifest some amazing things in your life and for this planet and for all of us. But if you do run across the deep state, go home. It's over. And you'll know within 3 days if you are a lower tier operative and you're waiting for your money and your funding and all of that. You'll know that no gate opened within 3 days. You'll know that this full moon and whatever else the heck, new moon or whatever this one is now that they're waiting for isn't going to happen. This ridiculous meeting in Nepal in the Wasatch Valley isn't going to happen. And if it did, it's not going to help them any. And the reason why that meeting would have been so important for them is because the Wasatch Valley was one of the locations that was connected to the Vatican systems. No Vatican system, no beast AI, for lack of a better term. That's about the only English word I can find for it. No meeting. Nobody's coming. Oh, that's okay. They'll find out come May 12th. And, hopefully by then we'll have moved on with our lives. So you, if you are watching this and you are not a part of the deep state, you are the bloodline of Source. So stand proud. Source won. Source has reclaimed the kingdom. It's all over as far as the war is concerned. Are they still going to fight us? I'm sure they will because there's something not right up here. It's that AI was in there way too long and there's something wrong. But maybe we can develop as part of the care program some help for people that have been AI controlled for a long time. Maybe we can help them. Who knows? We've got to be charitable, right? On that note, this is the GIA report for the 26th of April. We are going to be moving from here, probably in about 5-10 minutes, over to our app, unitednetwork.earth, where we are going to send out a Zoom link and we are going to answer your questions, or I am going to answer your questions, I should say. I don't know if anybody else has any questions for anyone else, but I'll be here to answer your questions and I'll see you there. So about 10 minutes.
Hello and welcome everyone. You'll probably notice that we have muted you. We will unmute you. I can see that when you have a question, we'll unmute you. But if you're not speaking, we're going to ask everyone to stay muted. I don't think you can unmute yourself, but if you can, please stay muted. So hello and welcome. Wasn't that a great report, hey? So Kim will answer as many questions as she can. But For this to be a really smooth process and for it to be as fair as possible, I'm going to ask everyone to have a short, succinct one question for Kim. Now, if you continue on to have two questions, I'm going to jump in and say, hey, you know, that's one question. We're going to move on. Okay, so forgive me, I will be doing that. Okay, so let's start. But before we do, for fairness, we're going to put everyone's hand down. And as soon as we do that, I'm going to ask you to raise your hands so it can be a fair process. So please raise your hands now.
That was fast.
It was. Okay, I'm handing over to
If
Kim.
I ever end up on Family Feud or something like that, these are my people right here.
We've got it organized this
Isn't that
time.
the game where you have to hit the buzzer? Yeah.
Okay, Kim, handing over to you, and then I'll tell you who your first person is. It is Nia Zamir. So if somebody can unmute Nia for me.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. My question is, you said you don't allocate new money anymore, so how come all the charts of M0, M1, M2 keep rising?
I don't know which charts you're looking at. And
Charts from the Federal Reserve.
oh. Well, they're very accurate, I'm sure, because they come from the Federal Reserve. But there is no new M0, M1, or M2. The only thing that they have been doing is getting credit lines from banks, the tier one banks, so like your HSBC, Credit Suisse, those types of places. The Federal Reserve is the lead bank for all of those banks. So credit lines against assets would be the only place I know of that there is any kind of, it's not really new money, it's a credit line. So if they're counting that, then that's fine. But the Federal Reserve hasn't issued new allocations in a long time.
Well, the question about the money is actually a deeper question that is about the validation of your information, because when presenting your information to new people, they always ask for proof. So for example, if you say you don't allocate new money, then they ask, how can it be? And if your answer for that the charts are wrong and everything is fake, it's kind of hard telling people that your information is true. So the actual question is like, what kind of proof can you give people who are asking, are you legit?
So the question would be, what is the proof?
Yeah, because for
You
example,
folio, because see, here's the thing with each individual human, they're going to define proof as one thing. So if I made another website for the Federal Reserve, or if they fix their website for you, would that be proof?
yeah, if they will show that there's no money, it means that your information is real.
Because it says the Federal Reserve on the website.
This is where people get their information, not from a woman who claims certain things.
Okay. Well, now how is the Federal Reserve's website stating that the money keeps rising going to help or hurt you or them?
Well, as I said, the main thing about this is finding validation for your information, because if you tell anybody about the stuff you are talking about, they will always ask for a proof after they look at you like you just fell from the moon. They will ask, where's the proof? How can you say it in real life? And so far, I'm thinking like, what proof can there be to show them here?
I once did an interview with Chris Rice, and he was here in my house with a couple of other people. And we did this interview live, and he asked me for proof. So I pulled out a whole bunch of pictures that I had taken over the years from vaults in Germany, from places in China, from places in Russia, and I gave it one after the other after the other. I gave copies of what we call the Red Book, Blue Book, and all the other books that are behind the Federal Reserve. They even say Federal Reserve. They say Treasury. They say all kinds of different things. The Bank of England is in there. Bundesbank in Germany is in there. And of course, that wasn't proof either, because people don't know what they're actually looking at. I don't know how else to give you proof. What would you like? Would you like to see the Federal Reserve blow up on live TV?
Well, actually, your story is about all the alien meetings and high technology and going to places. And if you could have like a video about somewhere or some alien species or an alien aircraft, whatever.
So do you, am I the only one you're asking to do this? Because nobody seems to question the deep state.
That's what everybody got used to.
Okay, but you're used to it with everybody else, but you're not used to it when I say it. Because they don't put out videos of them meeting people or anything like that. Yet they tell you they do. I mean, Stephen Greer was done in many videos of people telling you and whistleblowing and describing underground bases, which, by the way, it's not like everybody brings a cell phone and snaps a selfie into those things. I'm sorry, not even the deep state does that. So, but yet you believe them when they speak it.
Mhm.
Do you not?
Well, I actually believe more the stuff that you're saying. It resonates with me. But trying to transfer it to other people and get them to understand, it's like so hard without any proof that you can display.
Well, but also our job, like even my job is not to convince people that what I'm saying is true. It is not my job. My job is to put out the information so you are informed. You can take that information, you can leave that information, and this is something that's come up even recently. I have zero desire to be on YouTube. I have zero desire to be on camera. I have zero desire to do this part of my job. I do it because I'm supposed to. So I put the information out for people. If they want to believe it or they don't want to believe it, that's okay. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I have no desire to be a social media influencer with 1,000 or millions or followers. That's not what I'm here for. When people are ready to hear the information, they'll hear it. If they don't want to hear it, they don't want to hear it. Maybe one day we can take a trip into one of these old bases that doesn't exist anymore. Maybe one day we can take a selfie in there with a phone. But right now, any place that I've been like that, I mean, I've even been to banks in London where you walk in the door, you push the doorbell. There's just a little tiny card. It's about, I don't know, maybe the size of your finger. And it says what bank we're walking into. You push the doorbell, you ring the doorbell, they let you in. This is actually your Arab National Bank in London. You walk in the door, and the first thing you do is drop your passport, your phone, everything right there at the door into a basket. They basically, your arms are up, and they pat you down, make sure you're not carrying anything that you shouldn't be carrying upstairs, and then they let you upstairs. You can't even go into a bank for high-level banking without the full rub down kind of thing and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that somebody's going to let somebody into a deep underground base with a video camera to record everything that they're doing? I've never seen even footage online of anything like that. There's some reenactments of like the pyramids in Alaska, Mount Denali. That's on the internet too. So.
Thank you for your answer.
The financial system is the financial system too. They're going to fake it till they make it. There are things that will tell you that the United States debt is, I don't know, 38 trillion or something like that. I can tell you right now that at one point in time, the U.S. debt was 190 or, sorry, not 196. It was 946 trillion. And that's Federal Reserve numbers. So. No, do they tell us? Do they feel the need to tell us anything they do? Not really. They just
Kim, I
keep
think that
status quo.
Yeah, Kim, that's really, really clear. So thank you very much for that question. And we're going to move on to the next person. And we're not going to address this question again. Okay, we've done it. We've given it time. So if you have that question, we're going to move on from that in future. Next person is Zeinab. I'm not sure how to say that, so I don't want to say it incorrectly. So the next person, if somebody could unmute that person for me. Thanks, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Kim. Thank you so much for your report. I'm actually sitting in Nairobi, Kenya, right in the Great Rift Valley. So, right in Africa. Thank you so much for your report today. My question is, are all the major religions a tool of control? And does this also include Kabbalah, especially the Jewish Kabbalah? And why are all the beings in Kabbalah or say in the Jewish religion have the L behind it? Israel, Ishmael, Raphael, Michael. What is that? Thank you.
Okay. As far as the people you're calling your Jewish Kabbalah, is that what you're calling them? Those people? Are you referring to the Order of the Dragon that I talk about? Let me see if she can answer. Nah.
Okay. So what's happened is, Camellia, did you put her hand down? I think you did. And then that means I can't see her.
Well, I'll try to answer the best way I can. The Order of the Dragon are also your, what I'll call fake Jews. So there's people who are actually Jewish, born Jewish. There's nothing wrong with those people. They don't know anything about half of them, what we're talking about right now. They're just people born into the Jewish faith. As far as the deep state section, they are all basically bloodlines of various fallen ones. So they are like your Lucifers and all of that, who happen to be portraying themselves because of their control over Israel, that they are, how do you say, in charge of that particular region, based on the fact that they might be lords of the alleged land. Does that mean they are under control? I don't think they're under control of their own selves right now, honestly. Meaning, do I think they're all of a sudden going to wake up and say, well, you know, today's the day we're never going to make another war. Today's the day we're not going to try to rape and pillage lands and do all of these things. Probably not. But eventually, they're going to run out of money to do it. And that's my opinion. I know the Federal Reserve would like to say otherwise, but that is my firm opinion, is that what they talk about in public and what they talk about behind the scenes are two different things. And that's what I see. I see constant fights between the Order of the Dragon, or the section, which is the Blue Dragon, which is the ones that portray themselves as Jewish mostly, or members of the 12 tribes of Israel, as they call themselves sometimes. They are constantly fighting with those below them and those with them, because they say a lot of things that don't actually happen. Meaning, this is the next payday. This is the next time they're going to be able to pay for that war in Gaza. You know, they're going to be able to destroy that land, all that kind of stuff. Do I think it's actually going to take place? I think eventually they'll stop fighting and there'll be nothing left to fight over. But are they still going to play games with militaries and governments that they control the people there, mainly because they are family in some way, shape, or form? Probably.
Okay. Thank you.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Eric. Eric is next. Can someone unmute him? Thank you.
Hi, Kim. Just had a quick question. How can I get access again to unitedtv.org?
There is, trying to remember her email address off the top of my head. Her name is Dawn. There is a Telegram channel for that. I do know that.
We can do this, Kim. We can
Yeah.
can somebody private message Eric Dye with the website. There's a new website, Eric, and another email address. So
Has it gone up already?
Okay.
Did
Yes.
she fix it? We were hacked, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they took down the website and the whole thing. Oh, okay. There it is. It's support at unitedtv dot, is that supposed to be com? Oh, .co. Okay.
yeah, it's just .co.
Mm-hmm.
Support
Thanks,
at UnitedTV.co?
Yeah, so the website would be unitedtv.co.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I was really enjoying it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay, the next person, Kim, is Donna. Can somebody please unmute Donna?
I see Donna's lips moving, but Donna's not saying anything.
Yeah, she's unmuted. She's unmuted now. Thanks, Donna.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Donna.
I just want to ask you, how are you really doing after all these years gone by?
I'm still here.
I see that. Just checking in, girl.
Much to people's dismay. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of long, hard days. This week was particularly crappy. But I mean, all in all, I'm starting to try to create more balance in my life, meaning I've started back working out a little bit. I'm starting to try to get out into the garden a little bit here and there. So I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I'm starting to block it all out, you know, kind of put things into a position where nobody's going to die. I mean, unless some alarm goes off or something like that,
Good.
I need a little bit of time. You know, I'm just got to the point there really where I was pretty burnt out for a while. I mean, not going to give up, just tired, you know?
Well, don't you hear? Because we've all been there.
Yeah.
So, we love you. You stay
No.
strong.
Thank you
Stay-
for asking, Don. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. We love you.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, next person is Michelle. Can somebody please unmute Michelle? I'll let you know, Kim, when she's unmuted. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can unmute
Hey,
Michelle.
hey Kim. Hi.
Michelle.
Hey, I just wanted to say one, you rock. We love you and we're so thankful for you
Wow.
and your hard work. And my question is, what are the satellites that we see in the night sky? What are they really? Because, you know, we can't see something from 1,100 miles away that's maybe the size of a bus or smaller, right? And that's what they're telling us these satellites are. So I'm wondering, are they like huge ships that we see at night? Like, what are those things we see that are small and faint and they go across the night sky?
Probably. If they're moving that fast, satellites typically do not move that fast, at least not human-built satellites. They even have satellites that are smaller. It's called CubeSat. You can look that up.
But we shouldn't be able to see those though, right?
Probably not CubeSat, no, but you can see satellites. I mean, it looks like you'll oftentimes see like 2 or 3 lights together, you know, and you just kind of see it hanging there. You know, some people think it's a star or something like that. It's not. Satellites can move fairly quick, but when you see it zoom like that, oftentimes it's the SSP.
So do we actually have the ships in the night sky?
Does the SSP still have ships in the night sky? Yeah.
Okay.
Do we? Not that you could see, no, because we know better. If you actually see one of ours, then, you know, we don't. So it's a fine line between justifying what people are saying to one another about the existence of other beings, then there's people that are going to say, oh my God, it's the War of the Worlds. We're all going to die. It's 2012, whatever show movie that you watched, where we're all going to die. So if that is actually visible for any reason, typically from our side of it anyway, it's because they want it to be and need it to be for a reason. But the zooming ones are often SSP craft
Okay, cool.
or a meteor. Could be a meteor.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, great. Next person is Melanie. So can somebody please unmute Melanie? Kim, I'll tell you when she's unmuted.
Okay.
Hey, yes, Melanie, welcome.
We've gone through so much different information about how to connect to God, source, and then recently you've talked about what was false light and false dark. So then I started to wonder, all the time that we've been connecting with source, because we've had all these veils and layers and all kinds of things at us and poking at us and everything, have we been connecting to real source or false light? Like the real light or the false light? And
My
yeah,
comment would be, remember, it's a lot of it is about the intent and connecting. If you can connect your mind, body, and soul together, then it's all about your intent. Meaning, who are you trying to call? What are you trying to do? And you'll know if it doesn't feel right. It'll feel really strange to you, especially once you make those connections. I often see source as golden light. It still looks light, but it's golden light. Uh, for everybody, it might be different. There are times when I have to go there and have these conversations, and I kind of take that light and morph it into something that I can understand and have a conversation with. I used to do that in the very beginning a lot because it helped me because, we kind of grow up thinking, oh, there's a big old man in some heaven somewhere that's going to help us one day. And so that's kind of what I always morphed it into, is like this grandfather kind of type looking person. So I could understand, but I would say to you, it will feel right. And if you really are sitting with source, it'll feel like unconditional love. It feels like a parent that loves you beyond your belief, I guess I would say. I don't know how else to explain it. It's very warm. It's very comforting. Sometimes it feels like an energy warm blanket, just right when you need it. So
have
Okay.
more than like there have been a few times in my
I
life.
can hear.
Melanie, we're going to move on. We're going to move on only because it's one question per person, and we're going to move to the next person.
I couldn't really hear anymore either.
Yeah. So now it's Rachel. Rachel, if somebody could unmute Rachel.
Right.
Okay, Rachel, you're on.
Hi, am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. Kim, thank you for all you're doing. It's just fascinating to be witnessing this change from the old world to the new world. My question is about passing from the old world to the new world, the 3D to the 5D. I know it's a matter of mindset on the very first place, but what will we be seeing at a certain point? Will there be tours as some people are talking? There is a group that is the Archimagisterium that is also preparing something wonderful from what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
They are composed of twits that are coming from source also. John Melchizedek has always told us that there is a big light that is to come. Where are we with all that?
I've not listened to them, so I don't know what they're saying. As far as Earth is concerned, Earth is and has been for a long time basically part of every density. throughout the multiverse, both good and bad, for a long time. And we're coming to a phase where there isn't really any connection there anymore as far as dark. That doesn't mean that there aren't some dark remnants here. So Earth originally was always in the fifth density. That was the point of creation, let's just say outside of source, for a long time. Do I feel like all of a sudden it's going to be like, please fasten your seatbelts, we're all moving? I think it'll be easier for us to have some different experiences than we have right now, I'm hoping. Does being in the fifth density do something more for humans than being here, where we are in the third density? I don't know. I'm going to say it's a little less dense there. You're a little closer to source. We still have these meat suits to contend with, we call our bodies. But I think more importantly for me, the more important thing is being connected directly to source again, and connecting Earth directly to source again, so she can be all she was and all she will be, without interference. That's my main focus. As far as humans on Earth, we've got a lot to learn. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I think you'll start when you clear your mind. There's a lot of chatter out there. When you clear your mind, you'll have an easier time gaining that wisdom. I think there'll be people that will have a lot of wisdom that didn't have it before. They don't understand what this is, intuition. I think that as far as the deep state is concerned, I don't know how long they're going to keep up the movie, because it is a movie that they play. But I think that we're going to be moving on to the point where we don't care.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you for your answer.
Okay.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel. Helen? Somebody please unmute Helen for me? Hey, Helen.
Thank you, Kim, and the whole team for all you do. My question, Kim, is around well-being. You are under tremendous duress, and yet you look fabulous. And you feel vibrant. And so,
I'm just kidding.
And of course, all our bodies are not the same, but I am interested in what you find the best practices are for you.
Well, when I feel my best, I definitely like to work out, but I also enjoy this process. I put music on in my ears and all is right with the world, and I can go for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, no problem, and be the happiest person in the world. I would say the end goal for each individual, because it's not going to be the same for everybody. Some people may hate being in a gym. Some people may love it. Some people would prefer to go for a walk, and some people may, hate it. So it's just up to your individual happiness. And I would say the happier you are, the more you have focused on not letting past hurts and traumas, including the ones you inflict on yourself, we call guilt and shame, affect you. Come to terms with those things and let them go. Pent-up anger causes dis-ease within the body, whether you're angry with yourself or with another person. I would say that try to do something, even if it's little, every day for yourself. I would say the focus on connecting your mind, body, and soul together would also be helpful in healing. I would say, yes, everybody is different and everybody has a different thing to do, but there are your standard things, eating hopefully food that is not full of plastic, or other things we can't pronounce, would probably be on the list, whatever that is you choose. I'm not going to, I'm not going to tell people be a vegan or you're going to go to hell or whatever. I just, we all have our personal preferences. There are some supplements that I do take every day, just as a person that I've taken for years, and I've talked about them before. I take N-acetylcysteine all the time, all the time. I take amino acids too, because oftentimes, especially if I'm busy working a lot, I don't always get enough protein in a day. For a woman, it should be at least 50 grams of protein a day, probably for a man, 70, and that's just to keep your brain functioning, and going full force. Of course, the more oxygen you take in your body, the better off you are. If you're not able to get out and walk, and do those types of things, some chlorophyll, chlorella, greens that contain a lot of chlorophyll would be helpful, if you're not able to do that. And just, if you can, stretch your body, that sort of thing. I just, those people that say, oh, don't do this, don't do that, or do this, or don't do that, or whoever they are, I don't know who made you judge and jury. If you want to go and sit on a rock for 5 hours a day and you love that, go sit on a rock for 5 hours a day if you have the means to do it. Just do what makes you happy. It's about your happiness. And although you can be happy when you're with other people, you have to first be happy with yourself. And if you can't be happy within and with yourself, then no one on earth is going to make you happy. So
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Kim. Thank you,
that's
Helen.
my bits.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Helen, thank you for the question. Okay, the next person is Anna. Could somebody please unmute Anna for me? Anna is unmuted.
Hi. I just desperately wanted to know, have you heard of the Book of Urantia? Because it was apparently given to someone from something Melchizedek, can't remember his name, Melchizedek. Is it true? Is it accurate? Or is it just another deep state distorted version of things? Thanks.
I have not read the book. I have heard of the book only recently because some of our people within our staff have read the book. I don't know. I couldn't make a decision or a thought one way or the other as if it's good or if it's bad. So sorry, I don't know enough about it to say. From what I've heard, years ago, before we had YouTube and internet and all that kind of stuff, I know a lot of people, that was kind of one of their first books they were in that kind of got them to start thinking that the world doesn't work the way we think it does. But I don't have enough. I couldn't personally say myself. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, the next person is Leah. We're going to unmute Leah. Yes, unmuted. There you go.
Hi, Leah.
Ah, she's muted again. I don't know why. Okay, let's try and unmute her. She might have muted that. There she is.
Okay, there we are. Okay, thank you. So my question to you, Kim, is for a group of people. We're called targeted individuals, even though you're the number one target in the entire planet. So, wait, I asked them for me and for all of us. When do you see this ending? Because we're all still suffering like the bullets of electricity. In the subliminal messages, when will a lot has gone away that I know that we feel, but we are all, yeah. So what would you say to them?
But you still have it a little bit. Is that what you're saying? It's like better, but it's not 100%.
Yeah, it's better because we're not connected to a nasty AI, but like they're still underneath the house, hitting me with a very powerful weapon, and a lot of people actually,
Yeah.
So
Well, it's under everybody's house, really. It just depends on how sensitive the person is, because we used to have very large frequency grids that would span around Earth. There were when you say they, I mean, I wouldn't give the deep state so much credit, although they had access to some of this stuff. A lot of these things were like on autopilot. And what we've come to know is that people that are more sensitive feel it more than other people from time to time. And, it's very uncomfortable. And trust me, I know. Uh, But I will say this. I've learned this new technique that I've been working on lately because there were days, as we were tearing things apart, where those frequencies would just start hitting me like crazy because it's a self-defense mechanism for these things. They definitely, the more you hit it, the more it hits you. And they are just AIs, like they're running all on their own accord. It's not like the deep state decides today's the day for the program. I mean, there's like time released, and it's almost like putting something on a timer to turn your TV on or off at a certain time or something. It's the same thing. So, and obviously it's for different reasons, because it would actually hunt people down the lighter you get. So I totally feel your pain. But on the other hand of it, on the other side of it, it has gotten better. But this new thing that I've been doing, because I've learned that although they can overlay your soul, they can't penetrate your soul. So for the last month or so, when I go in to do damage control, so to speak, it's almost like I go to that center of where your soul is, your soul solar plexus, so to speak, and I almost put it out on the outside. So it's on the inside, but I also put it on the outside as a shield, not just my atypical shield, because I find that when it's that bad, it's the one way to make the frequency stop. It's the one way to make the energy stop, because it's the one thing that those AIs and them cannot penetrate. It's hard to hold it because you're pushing it literally on the outside of all your planes of existence. But if you can hold it like that, it'll give you some relief. It does work.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate you.
No worries. Nice.
Thanks, Leah. Lovely to see you. Now we had someone who had their hand up and somehow their hand was put down before they had an opportunity, and that person's name is Barbara. So Camelia, if you can unmute Barbara for us, then she will be next. Sorry, Absolute Computer Services, I know that you were next, but we'll do Barbara first and then we'll do you. So Camelia, can you find Barbara for us?
I think I'm unmuted now. Do you hear me?
Is that you, Barbara?
Yes.
Excellent. Please go ahead.
Hey, I've been trying to ask this question for every live that you've had, but I didn't get in there quick enough because I'm not tech savvy. But thanks for the great report and for the laughing out loud. I love that. Mm-hmm. We all need that good laughing out loud medicine. So thank you.
Oh, you do.
What I was trying to ask every time was, in 2023, my daughter passed away in May. She was 21.
Sorry.
And in June or July, you reported that there was no more false heaven, and it kind of freaked me out. And I did have a lot of connection with her, and I did hear from her a lot in all kinds of different ways, and a lot of people did. And I just wondered what happened to those people that were there, and if she was there. And when recently, since last fall, I haven't heard, felt, or been able to connect. Although you did say, and I know you said something about the beast making us think we were talking to our loved ones. So I wasn't sure if that was what was happening before when I was connecting with her. And then now I tried with you had told us how to connect with loved ones that have passed. And I've been trying that, and I have to keep working at it because it hasn't worked yet. But I was just wondering, like, what happened?
Well, you'll always have that connection because that spark of life comes through you to her. I wouldn't say, well, number one, the false heaven, so to speak, was closer to here than the real one is, the point of all creation, at least in proximity. But I would try reaching into I would say your own soul, and start looking for that little spark that came from you.
I will do that. When you said people went to false heaven, did everybody go to false heaven or no?
No, everybody did for a long period of time, yeah.
Until it
And then
left in that 2023 June
and
or
then they
July.
went to where they were supposed to go.
Go.
And then they
Okay.
can choose to leave there. They can choose another life in another place. They can choose not to leave there. And if she's still there, I would say that that could be the issue, because the more we fight to bring source connection here, the more everything else fights us to bring that connection here. And there's a lot of overlays even on source itself that have prevented source from doing things here. So I would say that could be it too. You know,
I just want to know that she's happy, safe, loved, supported.
of course she is,
Awesome.
you know. But I would try reaching your soul out to her soul, like a soul to soul communication, and see if that helps.
It's funny because I almost felt like we were the same soul.
Everybody, yeah, well, that definitely is the case. And it's part of the reason why, a lot of moms you hear, I'm looking down here because I can see the people down here. A lot of moms, you can hear your child crying miles away, thousands of miles away. You know where your kids are,
Yeah.
If you're old enough to remember and you were in America, we don't need the 10:30 news to tell us where, to go look for our kids. We automatically know if you remember that. So.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm really sorry about that, and I'm so glad that we were able to get you back in the queue. Okay, Absolute Computer Services. I'm not sure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Barbara. Bye. Okay, Absolute Computer Services, if you'd like to jump on when we unmute you. Okay, still muted, unmuted, but then muted again. Unmuted. Absolute Computer Services. Hi.
Am I here?
Yep.
All right. Kim, I just wanted to thank you for everything you do. And question, when are the chemtrails going to stop? I mean, this is ridiculous.
I know.
And it's all over the world. Again, thank you for everything you do. We love you.
It is everywhere, and it has been really bad here. It's like they think that they are this close to making something happen, and then they spray the crap out of everybody everywhere. But it's been terrible here too. I wish there was a way to just stop it. I don't know what they're spraying now. I think it's some form of barium that they found somewhere, because I don't know exactly what it is anymore. It's not what it originally was. But yes, they are having a really good time spraying everybody right now. But good news, Trump says he's taken on the chemtrails, so we should all be safe soon.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I laugh.
All right, thanks.
Probably when they get what they want, they're thinking that they'll stop them, They don't need it to control us anymore. They can do it with some, I don't know, in another way.
All right, thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Kim. Okay, next person is Mary. We're going to unmute you, Mary, in a sec. Excellent. Mary?
Hi, Kim. This is Mary. I want to thank you for everything you do and for everyone of people on your team. I really appreciate it, and we pray for you and your safety. One of my questions is, there's different things online about outside the Van Allen belt, that there are like spaceships parked out there. Is that still true?
No.
Okay.
No, on occasion we have, they're not manned things that pop up from time to time. We call them Death Stars because they look like that. Look like those big spheres, that you see on Star Wars. So that's what we started calling them. I don't know. Sometimes those things were manned before. Sometimes they're not. Mainly all we see now pop up from time to time is these unmanned sensor kind of type things. But we do not have a Palladian fleet in the waiting in the Van Allen belt or something. I heard that recently too.
Okay. Thank you so much. And again, for everything you do. We love you.
Thanks, Mary.
Bye.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, next person is Carmen. Carmen, we're unmuting you right now. Oh, excellent.
Okay. Thank you. Hi. Thank you.
I talked terrible, didn't I?
Okay. So my question is about the anti-source in this new environment. What is the role of that?
We have two different things. We have a dark source, or the dark side of source, which was, if you read the books, it says the splitting of the sea was the first thing that happened. That was the splitting of the sea. As far as that aspect of source, it's pretty much been reabsorbed into source now, and source is always source on either side kind of thing. But creation doesn't have to work that way anymore. A lot of times, yes, that source, you could call it, was anti-source. So they would play against each other. Now, as far as things that are anti-source, oh, yeah, AIs can be anti-source, meaning, like we say, anti-bugs, we spray. This is like an anti-source. Like it does everything that it can to deter source from doing what source does. I call those anti-source creations, even though it's not necessarily anti-source per se.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carmen. Next person is Alan. Alan, you're being unmuted right now. I think. Yes. Welcome.
Hi there. My question is about Avalon. Earlier in your report, Kim, you were talking about people's blood. You're talking about bloodlines. And I'm interested in blood types as a rhesus negative. I'm also on a quest in Scotland to find Avalon. I believe that Avalon is in Scotland. As a rhesus negative that gravitates to the stories of Atlantis, I also gravitate to that story. So can you tell us if you know where Avalon was or is?
I will tell you, Scotland's kind of an interesting place from the standpoint as I've done some work there. Let's say I've been to London, I've not been to Scotland, but I know people there. But I would say to you that the island of Skye was used very heavily for a reason, and not always a positive one. But there are places in Scotland that are hidden away. You have interesting places that, for lack of a better term, we call vaults. So during various cataclysms, people hid in a different density. Some of them hid in the fifth of Earth. So it's still kind of technically part of Earth in that particular location, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can see it. But as things are clearer, you'll start to see a lot of things that were not there before be there in certain places. And that might even go back to the question that the other person asked me earlier about what can we expect in 5D. I think you're going to have more of a capacity as a human to explore Earth in new ways in the near future is what I think you're going to see. And seeing places that you believe are forgotten is probably one of those things for sure. Because I definitely have seen both positive and negative, what you would call pockets of time, or these sophons and photons, because, we kind of live in our own bubbles too. We have our own aura, as you call it, or we have our own torus that goes around our bodies. So I think Earth does too. And people use them in different places to travel, as well as because it's kind of serves as a little bit of a protection when you're going through like a time-space continuum, because travel is like that. Travel is not this long, you launch the ship like Elon Musk says and you end up somewhere else. It doesn't do that. But I think that I definitely know for sure there are things that those that came before us, before various cataclysms that still exist on this planet, saving them for the time when Earth was restored. How old they are, do they all dress in like knights costumes and things like that? I don't know. Or what our history books tell us about Avalon or a fantasy world that was Scotland. Um, I don't know that. I'm going to say they may not be even people, but I do know that a lot of people took a lot of things and stored them away. I call them people, stored them away for a time that where they could bring them back. Some of the things that I've heard people have knowledge of, like seeds, plants, and trees that we didn't know about before, or used to have all in abundance that we don't have anymore. There are other technologies that we could use, but they're not going to release them as long as those people are around, because if they steal them, it can cause more harm than good. It's kind of like the dust, right? There's lots of places of dust storage around as well. And dust is a part of keeping a safe haven, be it in another density of Earth or another plane of Earth, safe. So most everyone utilizes it in a positive way like that. So I will definitely tell you for sure there are a lot of things on Earth that you cannot see that still exist. In both ways, positive and negative. Hopefully not much negative left.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The next person is Rafaela. Rafaela, we're going to unmute you. Yes, you were unmuted and now you're muted. Yeah, Rafaela, welcome.
Welcome, and from the bottom of my heart to the lady of all our hearts, thank you. Thank you for my life. I've been feeling each and every hit you went through with many here. You're not alone. You're in our hearts and our protection and prayers.
Oh, thanks.
As everybody's asking, yeah. And I know I don't want to be you. I mean,
I don't want to be me.
Yeah.
That makes two of us.
But sometimes I feel like I'm you. It's since the days I can believe that I'm alive. I was searching for God, and I knew I came for this incredible task. And I feel like we're sitting with the soul family here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel one long time ago, but you see, actually I have a million questions because I feel all these questions in my heart. But the thing is, how do you think that we're going to make this shift into I mean, we anchored the golden age, but we're just in this residual karmic issue that is created through collective unconsciousness. This is clear for me. Maybe you see it different. You could clear this. But how do you think that we're going to be protected from this absolutely self-entitled psychopaths? Because we live here in Germany, have a huge crowd that loves in Germany.
Yeah.
We're not Nazis. I mean, the Nazis said with their fat asses, sorry, because it's a good place. Demons do not choose good, evil places to sit down and suck energy. But how do you think that we could go through, I would have done long ago a field messenger report, but I know they observe us. We are really in danger. You can't make a peep without going to jail right now in Germany. I mean, Duck Dynasty is awful, but when
You have the German version of Duck Dynasty over there? Yes, you do.
yes, we have. You know what? Duck Dynasty is still happening again, except if you see them talking here. I mean, even stupid is too good. The word to say this stupid? No, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my.
And
The thing is, how can we make it that the light warriors and light workers can make the shift without being killed before. Because you can say a word, you can make every creative thing that you do, you're blocked immediately. I mean, they almost killed me because I never I never was singing for these cabals, for the cabals. They killed me for years, and it's always by God that we survive, right? But it's getting harsh. Like I don't know what they're doing with all these fiber cables. They feel very dangerous.
Raffaele, we're going to stop now and get Kim to answer the question. Thank you very much.
Pardon.
Well, if you've, and I'm just going to kind of try to explain this the best way I can. If you've ever had a narcissist person in your life, sometimes when things are out of control or out of their control, it kind of sends them in a tizzy where they try to get more control, whether it's over another person or a job, something in their life. And it could be out of control on the job, and then they come to you and they try to take more control at home. So, everybody reacts in a different way. So I would say to you that the deep state is going to go through a period of time where they are going to get, and if you've noticed, it's probably gotten worse in the last year or two, they are going to try to take control. Now, as long as they had the AIs running that they could access and they could send you some frequencies that shut you down at any moment in time, all of the kind of lovely things that they do to you, they won't be so, it's like living in a fake utopia, right? All is right with the world, here's leader so-and-so, wave it for the camera, kind of thing. But I would say when they lose control of all other control mechanisms, the next thing they're going to try and do is take physical control of people. Now, the lockdown that we had, I think, was a test. I mean, I know that they've been trying to ramp up to another lockdown, but see, it's kind of a catch-22 for them. We are what keeps their system running. We are, it's like the farmer on the plantation back many, many years ago in America. You have all these slaves. If you don't have the slaves, who's going to pick the cotton? Who's going to, bring in the crops? Who's going to keep the farm running? And then before you know it, you don't have a farm and you don't have any money and you don't have a house. So for that reason, they need us to be under control. They need us to feed what they want us to feed as people, and they want us to do what they tell us to do, whether it be on TV commercials, take the drugs we tell you to take, do the jobs we tell you to do, that kind of thing. So I believe what's going to happen is when they have no more AI control, then they are going to try to take physical control of the people. That's what I think is going to be one of the steps they try to do. But no one ever said they were the sharpest tools in the shed. That's going to shut down everything that they are. There's no more private plane flying. There's no more shining of your shoes. There's no more of making of your clothes. There's no more of that, because that's us. That's us, the people. So I don't think it would last long if they did try, but in my opinion, that would be it. Now, we powered their systems, like the Vatican system and some other ones. We powered those systems. Without us, those systems don't exist. We have tried and tried and tried to do it the other way around, where we're disconnecting humans, one after another, after another, after another, not one after another human, AI after another AI after another an AI. So it seems to work better when you get rid of the source of it. And, this is, no one gives you the handbook and says how to get rid of a quantum AI 101. So I think it's going to end. That's my opinion. I think that this is going to be our year where it starts turning around in our favor. I don't think that they are smart enough to pull it off without help from something or someone. At least that's what it appears to me. to look like.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you very much. Rafaela, thank you very much. And the next person is Jared.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to start off with it's like a bit of a quote question that's pretty famous in the business world, and it's that, what's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire? And the answer generally is billionaires learn and use astrology. So my question is,
I've heard that too.
yeah, are there any, like, you've got like Western tropical astrology, then you've got Vedic astrology, and then, you speak of things like the Mercury and the moon are synthetic. Is there like a chart or a lineage that we can follow and utilize like the elite use that's like whole and complete? Because, yeah, there's different systems, and obviously they have synthetic elements that they manipulate and use as well.
I would say the reason why they do it is because of the synthetic elements that they think are an act of God, because a planet aligns with a planet and brings them gifts. But I will say, and this might even be a better question for Miss Natalie. I'm going to call you on the carpet here, girl, because she actually trained under a world-renowned astrologer, so she can probably explain it better than I can. But she did tell me, because we were in a meeting the other day, and for those of you that don't know, Natalie's one of our team member that does so many different things. I could rattle it all off, but Natalie trained when she was younger with a world-class astrologer. So she kind of knows the ins and outs. And I was exhausted. From Tuesday till probably this morning, it was just that kind of week. The ones where you just like want to crawl into a closet and not come out. I wish that worked for me, because if I could crawl into a closet and shut the phone off, that doesn't help me any. But, and she said, well, I hate to tell you this, Kim, but you're going to be fighting all weekend. And she said that you're going to be in your element because you're a really good warrior. You fight, but something about Pluto and Mars, Miss Natalie. And I'm going to say you didn't lie. So maybe you can fill us in on how you do what you do.
No, Jared. Okay, Jared, I just wanted to quickly say, look, when I was 15, I met an astrologer who was actually, really world famous. And she was one of the pioneers, and she helped with creating software back in the day. And I was 15 and I couldn't understand life. I couldn't understand the people around me. I couldn't understand why they behaved the way they behaved. And she helped me understand that. So I'm not an astrologer, but because I learnt that at such a young age, I can't, stop knowing that stuff. So in terms of just Western astrology, that's kind of like what has always been something that I've looked at. I've looked at other versions of astrology. But Jared, when my son's having a bad day, I go back to the ephemeris and I look at the planets and I go, what's going on? What's he being triggered by? He's always got a choice. But sometimes, and I was wondering about this, Kim, as I was looking at this, because these planetary alignments, have a particular point in which people can, let's call them them, the deep state can utilize that frequency. It's like, knowing when transits are happening or frequencies are kind of bunching together or opposing each other has always been something that has been helpful for me. Do I have a choice? Always. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? It just is a pattern. It's just all patterns of energy. So, anything that shows you patterns anywhere in life is always helpful. So that's my take on it, Kim. That's my take on it. It's
That's
helpful
interesting.
to know these patterns, and it's just a helpful tool. So Jared, I hope that helps you in some way.
I think for them, they would say, oh, this is between this day and this day is a good time to start a new business, based on when you were born and all of these kind of things. In my mind, when I hear of a deep state person, doing charts, which they all do, by the way, they all do. And why would they do that? Well, unbeknownst to probably even them, it's the it's those two planets aligning or conjunct, or however you say that, against each other, that will trigger some kind of space jump within it that would trigger a certain frequency that would be beneficial for them and terrible for us.
And knowing that, Kim, too, it's like knowing that there's a difficult frequency. You can then start to already go, okay, I can turn this into a positive, right? I can transmute this difficult frequency into a positive, but also know that you might be susceptible at that time for getting a fang put in you. You know how people are talking about, oh, I'm still being targeted. It's like, when do those moments when you can be targeted, when is the veil thinner? Do they know that? Probably. Right.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
I can honestly tell you, though, yesterday after I was like, when is this day going to end? And, I might have used a 4-letter word and then your name after it, because I was like, oh, God, she said this was going to happen all weekend. Natalie.
But it's nearly done, right? Is it nearly over, Kim? Are we?
You tell me.
Yeah. It's definitely. I mean, today's the day, But when something happens like that, this Mars-Pluto thing, it's really intense. It's really, really intense.
It is.
But the intensity builds and then it breaks, waxes and wanes. It builds and then it breaks. But it's kind of good when you've got like someone in your life that's going through something and you go, oh, okay, they're going through something that might last 6 months or it might last, that long. And it's a learning experience for them and you can support them in their learning. They're learning this lesson. It might be a particular lesson that you can determine by looking at their planetary, at energies, at patterns, and it's all just patterns and energies, really, Jared. So thank you for the question. We're going to move on.
Well, and just on the side note, so she tells me this is what's going to happen this weekend, and you've got a whole bunch of deep state people over in the Great Rift ready to fight the war on behalf of their immortals or with their immortals along their side or whatever they're trying to do, right? So is there something to it? I'm going to tell you absolutely, because these people are like Johnny on the spot when there's a alignment with whatever, and they're always doing something like, what are you doing over there? You ever look at those people like, why are you standing? The bus doesn't come there anymore. Yep. Okay.
And it's funny. It's like sometimes, with my brother, I'll say to him when I can see that something difficult's coming his way energetically, I'll say, Pete, please don't fight with anybody this weekend. Whatever you do, don't fight with anybody this weekend. And he'll go, okay, Nat, because he kind of knows, oof, I could fight with people, right? So it's that kind of stuff. But look, thank you for the question. We can explore this as we go on in the future. And Kim, the next person is Line. Now, I'm not sure if that's a
Lynn.
Lynn. Sorry, Lynn. I can't. My eyes are
It's a
blurry.
French name.
We have two Lyns, one after the other.
Yeah. Friends.
Oh.
Really something. So we're from Quebec. And I have this question. Well, first of all, thank you for everything, for who you are, because I've been following you since the beginning, and I've been one of your biggest promoters. That's why Lynn is here also. But it's been like a long ride, but I learned so much, and today I can say that I'm starting to love myself, and I'm starting to really in contact with my divine flame or divine. I'm starting, but I do what you say, walk in nature and everything. Now I have this question because us in Quebec, we have our election of Canada this Monday.
Okay.
And we have the choice of Mark Carney, which is definitely one of them, and the other one is Pierre Poilievre, and so I'm just wondering, do you have any advice for us, because it's an important time, and I don't know if we have any because you said that every election is planned, is already I don't know the word, but it's already there. It's already done.
So when I was younger, I worked for a bank. It was one of my first jobs while I was in college, and I was a personal account representative. So when you go in, you say I need a checking account. I'm the girl you see. At that time, years ago, when dinosaurs roamed the earth. So at that time, they sent me to sales school. It was so you could learn to sell like annuities and IRAs, and you have to learn all the products and that kind of stuff. So they send you to this school for a week or two. And during my time there, they taught us various selling techniques along with the information about the products themselves. And one of those things that they taught me while I was there was to present something in front of the people where they can pick option A, B, C, or D. And the reason why they presented this, why you were supposed to present this, is A, had like all the bells and whistles. You're moving your retirement accounts, everything, your car loan's coming over, all your stuff, you're going to put all your stuff at this our bank now, and then, on down the line, right? Till it was just maybe a checking account and a loan or something. And 90% of the time, people would choose one of your options. Very few times would people actually say, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm just here to open a savings account. It's just human nature. So the reason why they present you with two options like this, and at first there's more, right? There's
5.
Yeah. And but really, they only talk about two of them, always. So they narrow it down for you. So that'd be like me taking that sheet of paper when I was 20 years old or 19 years old saying, okay, I'm just going to have option A or B now. I'm going to take out all the lesser ones, and which one do you want to pick? So what you have there is you have one that's a Rothschild and one that's Duck Dynasty. Which one would you like?
Yeah. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah. So that's your choices right now. So if I was you, I would spend the day in the park and drinking a cup of coffee and let what will be, because it doesn't make, you could go stand in that line. It really doesn't make much of a difference, or you could go get a cup of coffee somewhere and enjoy the day with a friend. Maybe Lynn and Lynn can go do something together on that day, But it just makes more sense to me. Makes more sense to go do anything.
Yeah.
Have a few teeth pulled rather than go stand in that line for 4 hours, because at least it'll be productive. Your mouth will be healthy. It's like,
yeah, that's what my 3 children do. They enjoy themselves. They don't vote at all.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. It was more a concern because it's coming close, and
I know. And just take a deep breath, because they want to give you the illusion of freedom, because they find it's the best control mechanism. Where you feel you are free, but you are not free. Everything is controlled. You live in it's like you're a hamster in a cage, a rat in a cage. You go to work where they tell you to work. If they don't want you to work there, you don't work there. If they don't want you to go to that school, you don't go to that school. If they don't want you to eat that food, you won't eat that food, because there is none in that cage. So, you have been living life so long in this way, would I rather have, the lady that comes to my cage to feed me, or the little kid to feed me? But either way, they're going to feed me the same thing in the same amount. So does it really matter?
I'm better to start my garden.
I know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. And so we've gone over our hour, Kim. So we'll do one more. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
And that's going to be Lynn again.
Hi, Lynn 2. Lynn 1, Lynn 2.
Hi, can you hear me now?
I can.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I have a million questions, but I'll go for one. I have followed what you had started to do. Remember, a few years ago, you were teaching us how to get the energy and protect and all of that. So I still do that. And I thank you for it because it does work. Now, my question is, I'm already out of like, I don't want to give the cabal or these people so much of my attention. So I'm already into manifesting what I want in this world. And I find that it's easier and easier. But would you have a few suggestions, or do you recommend something besides connecting directly to source, because we do, that we can do? Work with gold. I already work with gold, like these gold magnets that Da Vinci had taught us. I see that, so I work with that. But I would like it to be fun, fluid, easy peasy, and very soft, manifesting whatever we want in life.
Yeah. Well, it's, how do I say it? Okay, so when you are in the right relationship with the right person, it's easy, right? It's like, you kind of read each other's thoughts, you know what each other are going to do, what you need, what the other one needs, whether it's a child or another person you love, or you're in a love relationship with. But whoever these people are that are in your life, you could be your best friend. It's just sometimes it's just so easy. You can talk for hours. It's just a flow that happens between you two, probably because you've known each other lifetime after lifetime. I mean, that happens too. But if you've been in those relationships where you're trying to put on the right clothes and the right makeup or the right hair or the right car, depending on what your love language is, the right dinner, and you're really struggling to do the thing, you're probably not in the right relationship, because there's always compromise, in all friendships and relationships, but you're probably trying to make something work that's not working for you. Now, I'm not saying that you're doing it wrong, so please don't take it that way, because this is an individual thing. I find the easiest times when I'm struggling because the frequency's bad, the people are bad, I find it easiest to connect to source when I am creating. Now, that's me. I could be making a dinner for people. I could be painting something. Now I'm doing these the lotions and stuff like that, the skincare stuff. So I'm just creating something. And that's my happiest time of day, is when I'm creating anything, anything at all. And I find that even if there is a block or something's trying to block and I got to push, because that happens sometimes when it's really bad, that unblocks me. That takes me to a whole nother place. So I can't speak for you, but for me, I throw on my headphones, I'm listening to some music, I'm dancing around the kitchen, I'm baking. God bless my roommate because he's going to be fat. No, I'm just kidding. But, I'm baking, or, I used to joke and call them Pentagon cookies because they made me angry today. So now I got to get into a happy place so I can go back to working with Source. But, or this is, Trump banana bread or whatever, I just enjoy the creative process. And that takes me to where I need to go. That makes it just easy.
I got it. You said joy. I think that's
joy. Joy in creation, whatever that means for you. Find the joy in creation, and don't focus so much on what 10,000 people that came before us do, or even the people right now are doing. It's really, you got to find that joy, find that happiness, find that creativity, feel it through your bones. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to click like that for you. That would be my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn, too.
You know what? It's a really great place to end. And I know there's a lot of people that haven't had an opportunity and to ask their question. However, we will do this every month. And next month we'll do it again. And hopefully we'll make it a fair process. Kim, I'm going to hand over to you to say goodbye. And then we'll finish.
Well, maybe at one point in time, we'll be inviting everybody and we'll all be able to ask each other questions for days. How's that?
Yeah.
I'd very much look forward to that one day. I love talking to all of you. I appreciate you taking your time on a Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you are in the world, to chat. It just gives me so much hope, relief, happiness, because, I don't really get to talk to people that are just grounded, happy, all the time. So most of my days are not those people. So I just thank you so much for being here and sticking with us on this journey. And I think 2025, I can't talk today, is going to be our year. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And let's keep connecting to Source. Bring them here, every day if you can. And we're always open to chit-chatting as far as conversations, any kind of insights, that type of thing. And, we're in this together and we're going to get out of it together. That's the only way. So on that note, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Miss Natalie. And I will see everyone, I guess, in a couple of weeks.
Bye.